Okay, so this is another tutorial going over some basic hand flow related to liquid dance and that sort of thing. I created a video, another previous video, going over basic stuff, but I just thought of some more stuff that I could share. Basically, I'll just get right into it. Before we had like hand positions like this, and basically something else I thought of is that you kind of like twist the angle. So like you could do stuff like this, like instead of going down at the same direction or plane or angle or whatever you want to call it, you kind of like twist your wrist like that and kind of do this sort of thing. So like you don't have to be aligned in this way. You kind of like go like this sort of thing, like at a side, and they call this sort of thing, I don't want to say the word because I don't want you to think of these things in terms of specific moves, because I want you to focus more on the flow and the feeling of the motion and what you can do with your hands, and kind of open up your mind to the possibilities, right? I don't want you locked into a specific way of moving, okay? But you can do this sort of thing. Basically, you're kind of creating that path or circular motion where one thing's following the other, right? So it's like you have this circular path or any type of path, or just this flow, this feeling of moving in some direction with relativity to everything else, okay? You kind of open your fingers and kind of do interesting stuff, right? Okay, kind of like swing it and like propel it and that sort of stuff, okay? I'm doing kind of complex stuff here, but I'm just I want to inspire you and kind of get your mind excited about the possibilities, okay? Part of the fun is figuring this stuff out on your own and developing that feeling and understanding on like a deeper level instead of just watching. But I guess another important thing to give or show are specific steps. This is another thing I thought about just from doing the last video that I thought I'd share or focus about more when I'm creating more of these videos, is I need to kind of show specific steps, because I think it's easier for beginners to follow along if they can put their hands in specific positions. That's why I showed you, like, instead of doing this and like that, you could turn your wrist at an angle and kind of do the same sort of motion with your hands, but like with different orientations or positions or whatever. But when you're first starting out, it's gonna be difficult to do that sort of thing. But you kind of, let's see, for example, if you're doing this, you have to like follow a specific path, okay? And it's the same sort of motion like this when you're doing this with just a circle, but then you kind of like, you kind of, instead of going like that, like this, when you bring your wrist over here, you're just kind of letting your wrist kind of trail behind, and kind of do that sort of thing. I'm not really explaining this that well, but I'm kind of trying to show you visually how to kind of do stuff so they can kind of follow along, because the words, I don't know if the words really matter that much, right? As long as you can see like what I'm doing. If I slow it down enough, you can kind of get a picture in your mind and follow along, that sort of thing, okay? So same thing, like when you're doing stuff like this, when you're doing bigger motions, like just kind of like, it's the same sort of thing like that, where you have like your fingers curled up here and they're following but at like a distance, right? And then you kind of get up here and it's like, oh wait, what? And then it's like over here, and then it's down like that or something, just like a fly or something. But that sort of thing. Okay, so I was going to show another example, like when you do this, just as like an example. Okay, like let's try and break that motion down. Okay, so like I'm doing this. It's like, oh, that's pretty cool. How do you do that? How do I do that? Okay, so I have to like break that down and kind of think about the feeling and motion. Like this hand is kind of when I'm going this way, it's kind of driving, it's kind of digging with the fingertips. It's like I'm kind of directing this hand like with my fingertips as it's going that way. And this hand over here, I'm kind of using my wrist to kind of go around this other forearm. Okay, so this hand, I'm going around using like my fingertips, but I'm keeping the orientation of my hand relatively the same, like the palms facing this and the back of the hands like facing out like that. So I'm kind of going like this, just creating a circular motion like this, keeping back of my hand facing out and that sort of thing, right? So I'm going like that. And if you want to do this motion, you could just start doing this, like keep your forearm like that. And then maybe you could start just doing like this, and then thinking more like the fingertips. And maybe you're not so controlled with the orientation yet, so you might just be like going like this way and like that, you know. But then like after a while, your mind will adapt to the motion, and you could start fine-tuning it a bit and like keeping like the palm facing in and the back of the hand facing out like that. And you kind of like bending and flexing your fingers more and doing something like that, and you get more feeling into it, right? You can kind of go backwards too if you want, but we're going this way for now. And then you could start incorporating the other hand as you do it, okay? Like that. I'm just kind of breaking this down, trying to figure it out, analyzing the motion for you, just to put it into specific steps that you can follow, okay? So this hand's kind of moving and driving with the wrist more. That's what I'm focusing on more with that hand. Whereas this hand, I'm focusing more on like the fingertips, okay? And so I can't really see what I'm doing, so I don't know how it looks. I'm just going by like the feeling, okay? It probably looks better if I'm like moving over here, like creating like this kind of motion, that sort of thing. Okay? Kind of go. But like with this hand, again, you can kind of keep this arm still, just kind of generate some kind of feeling of using your wrist. Maybe it helps if you just kind of focus on the wrist like that. You're not even doing anything with your fingers. But the more you develop a sense of the feeling, it'll condition your mind more, and then you can start focusing on other stuff. It's like you're layering different layers of feeling and sense about different parts of your body and how it moves in relationship to everything else. So each, like, I guess you can kind of think every single part or place in your body has like this type of sense that you could develop, this feeling. But yeah, I don't know. So like anyways, I'm focusing on the wrist. I know we're focused on this a lot, but I'm just kind of breaking it down as much as possible to kind of show you how I tend to think about stuff when I'm kind of trying to understand the flow of things, okay? So after you get like a feeling of that, you have to put it together with both hands doing the same thing. So now if I'm trying to feel like I'm kind of like doing the same thing like this, where I'm kind of thinking about like a unified space or point or plane or whatever that's moving together that kind of connects the two things, right? It creates like this relativity or relationship or whatever, this coordinated way of like moving, the synchronized way. I'm using all these different words to kind of describe the same sort of thing, this type of feeling, okay? And so like I'm kind of like pushing or moving my fingertips one way. At the same time, I'm moving my wrist in a similar coordinated, synchronized way, so that it creates like this, there's a specific word for it. I can't think of it right now, but anyways. That's what it's doing, okay? So, and you kind of play with it. You know, the more you do it, the more smooth and it kind of what's the word? Evolves into something else, right? You can kind of get really disciplined and keep doing the same thing. Let's go back the other way. So, yeah. So that's just giving you an example of a specific type of motion or flow, and how to think about doing that basically, okay? And how you can kind of break it down into smaller steps, or just how to explore that. Maybe you'll do something accidentally and you'll be like recording yourself doing it, and then you can kind of play it back if you do that sort of thing. So it helps to like record yourself in case you like spontaneously do some cool move and it's like, wait a second, what was that? And it's like, oh no, I don't know how to do what I just did. Oh good, I have it recorded. I could just watch it back and kind of figure it out again, right? So that's how I started. I just recorded myself doing stuff and trying to experiment and do different things and that sort of thing. Is there anything else? Kind of break things down into specific steps. I need to think about like other types of motions and develop some specific steps for you to follow, because for beginners, I guess that helps because they haven't developed the ability to analyze all their motions yet. And so they might not know how to do that sort of thing, that processing with their mind and exploring that sort of thing. If they're just starting and they don't know what to do, or if they haven't developed the coordination and that sort of thing to do more basic things, right? Once you do like basic things, then you kind of use that to kind of explore and try different stuff. What else, man? I don't know. These are just spontaneous tutorials or whatever pops into my mind. So maybe I'll keep creating them. Maybe I won't. Who knows? if you have specific things you want me to explore, or if you want to share something that I should look into more, or think I should know something that I don't know about anything, or have suggestions or feedback or whatever, leave a comment or whatever, that sort of thing. So yeah, hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully I explain stuff well, and yeah, we'll see how it goes.